Hi, this is Heather McCarthy from mccarthyheather.blogspot.com. I wanted to show you how to make this card today. This is one of my favourite Christmas cards that I've made this year. So I taught it the other day and I thought, well, I'll show other people how to make it too. So it uses this gorgeous stamp set called Star of Light, and it's got these beautiful swirls in it, which you'll see that I've used on here. And let's just get going on it. So what I've done, I've started with just a blank piece of cardstock, folded in half. It's A5, and we are going to start off by, so use your mat, because the stamps that we're using are photopolymer, so they need a bit of cushioning on them. However, what we're going to do first of all is we're going to create this sort of framed bit round here. So what we do, we take our soft sky ink pad, and you just take a normal clear block and just literally ink up the face of your block, just so it's like that. Then pop that straight into the middle of your card. Press it down and leave it there for a couple of seconds so that that ink has the chance to transfer onto your paper. When you lift it off, that's what you get. A kind of cool image like that. So let's pop that soft sky ink away because we don't need that anymore. Then what we go on to is the Pacific Point ink. And with that, you just want to take the swirly star stamp, and you're just going to stamp it up a few times. Just ink it up each time, so make sure you do re-ink it each time, and then stamp it. You can stamp it off the page as well, because that makes it just look like it's meant to be a continuation of the image going down, but I just think it's such a beautiful stamp set. I love that stamp. So next thing is your word. So we are going to use Island Indigo. So again, I don't know if you've come across these stamp pads, but Stampin' Up! Always have their ink, so it's facing downwards. So as you see, that the ink is always at the top of the pad, so when you turn it round, you're always going to have ink right at the top. That means that when you use it, you can just let the weight of the block actually ink it up for you. You don't actually have to press down hard. So ink that up, pop that down in the corner there. So we've just gone with a slightly darker blue there, just so that it pops out a bit better. And just close those ones up. Then the next thing you'll notice is that this one actually has sort of smoky edges to it. Looks a bit different so far, doesn't it? So what we do with that is we go back to our Pacific Point, and you take your dauber. I've got all mine labelled with their name on them. And the best way I find to daub around the edges is to actually pick your card up and just sort of fluff it round the edges, I suppose you could say. Because I've seen people that have done it like this, and then they try and put it on there and it just ends up so heavy. Whereas I quite like it to look light round the edges to begin with. So that's all the way around the edge. And then what you can do is, if you press it down hard and get rid of the excess ink, then you can just take that and smudge the edges of it. I don't know if you can see how it's just giving it that slightly smoky look. I personally prefer that look around the edges of my card than anything that's too heavy. So there we go, that's our slightly smoky look. Then the next thing is we're using the thin lit dies, which actually don't look like much there. So what I've done for you is, hopefully you can see this, I've cut out each one of the dies. This one is a really cool sort of 3D die. What it does is it scores it, and then you just fold it up and down in the different parts, And isn't that cool the way it comes out like that? So what we've done is I've then, oh, there it is, almost lost it. I've cut out that die in the beautiful silver cardstock. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the Tombow multi-purpose liquid adhesive, which you can then just literally just dot it all over and just all round. Did you know with this adhesive as well, if you leave it to dry completely, it actually then becomes repositional. So kind of like one of those, oh, you know, the pads that you buy that have the little sticky bit at the end. It's kind of like that. So let's take that and you just stick that down in the middle of your card. Oopsie, you've got a little bit of wiggle room as well with the with this adhesive, which is kind of cool. The other thing with this adhesive is it actually comes double-ended, so if you're covering a wider area, you can go with the wider area, or if you're just going with a small area like I have, you can just go with the small paste. I think that's cool too. So we've got that. Then the last thing with this card is to add some sequins, and how gorgeous are these sequins? They're called Fancy Frost sequins, and I have to admit they are on the way out, which is a bit sad. So what I'm going to attach them with is this fine tip glue pen. Now when you use the fine tip glue pen, you unscrew the top of it and you'll see as it comes out that it has this little pin end. Now the pin end has to go back into there, and that's what keeps it from all clogging up when it's sort of on your shelf and away. So what we do with this is you just literally pop a drop, and then you pick up a sequin, and hopefully they don't stick to your finger, and you pop your sequin on. So then another drop, another sequin, another drop, 2 more drops maybe, and there's one. I want one of those pretty blue ones. There it is. There we go. And let's just do the same down here. 1, 2, 3. I've got 1, 2, and let's grab one of the pretty blue ones again. I like the blue ones. There we go. And that is your card all made. So as I said, with this, you just have to, well, preferably have it the right way up to begin with, that usually helps. And just make sure that that little end piece is obviously going to cause me a problem today, but it needs to go into there and screw back together like that. So that's all sorted for your card. The other thing that I really like to do is to put something on my envelope, because I always think, you know, it's really cool when you get a card through the mail and you know it's handmade when there's something on the envelope to match it to. I think that's pretty good. So we're getting back to our Pacific Point again. We're going to ink that up, and I obviously pressed too hard because I've got ink on there, but press down firmly but don't rock it, lift it off and you'll get a great image. And I reckon that is it. So please let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your comments, and as this is my 3rd video, I'd really like to know if you have any sort of inspirational bits that I could maybe include to it, or change or whatever. So thank you very much for watching, and come again soon. Thanks. Bye.